Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? My name is the Nanu, the man with the biggest and the most blackest privilege on YouTube. And with this one here, this is going to be a little bit different. Usually I talk about movies or stuff that's interested me and things like that, but we're going to be talking about video games in this commentary, YouTube. You know, something you don't normally see, you know, on this site or anything like that. But I was on PlayStation, right? And I was going through the store and things like that. I was trying to find a new shooter to play, and it's one of those things. Given how I am as a person, I'm tired of World War II games. I'm tired of all of the old school war type games, and you got I think the new Battlefield. They just had a reveal trailer come out for it, and that's going to be on World War II. The new Call of Duty is going to be I guess you could say semi-futuristic. And I'm guessing that's cool for the people who like that. But for me, it's okay in Call of Duty, but it's not what I want. I like tactical modern military shooters. That's if I had to pick a favorite one, it's that and sci-fi that I like. But how they do sci-fi in Call of Duty, they never fully embrace sci-fi. They just kind of lightly, they rub its back a little bit, but that's it. They don't fully give it a bear hug or nothing like that. But so I was looking on there for other shooters and everything, and I came across America's Army. What's it called? America's Army Proving Grounds, and it's the gameplay that's been in the background of my past couple commentaries here. And I was just gonna try it out. I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I know the name and I know the franchise, but I've never played them. I know it's made by the American Army and things like that. And they basically use it as like a recruiting tool, to get out there in the video game world, to get people interested in that kind of sort of thing. So I know of the franchise. I know they've been making it for years, but I don't know how old this game is. From what I'm, reading up about on PC, I think it came out years ago, like 2015 or 2016, something like that. And I don't know when it dropped on PlayStation 4, because I could have swore I remember going through the store and looking for shooters, and it wasn't there until recently. And plus I'm seeing on other YouTubers where seeing it on their systems recently and things like that. So maybe it just got ported to the PlayStation in the past couple months. But I gave it a try. It's free to play, and I was expecting garbage. Let me say that. I went into it expecting this was gonna be some bullshit. I wasn't really gonna like it. I didn't know how realistic they were gonna be. I don't want this to be like what was that gaming military shooter franchise called? Operation something. But I remember there was this realistic shooting game where if you got shot in the leg, you couldn't run. You had to patch your wounds and things like that, and then you could walk. It was they tried to be super realistic with it, and it kind of took away a lot of the fun factor out of it. But I figured it was going to be like that. But when I got my hands on it, I, jumped in, I guess picked my load out and things like that. It impressed me. It was exactly what I was looking for. Because I'm tired of Call of Duty. I'm tired of Battlefield and the way that they always change up the game and how they balance both games. I miss the age when shooters, I want to say from 95, not 95, damn, 2005 to probably about when Modern Warfare 3, when that came out. In between those time periods, you had a lot of different modern military shooters came out, because that was the thing. Kind of like how Battle Royale is now and things like that. So everybody was making their modern shooter. But the difference between, let's say, shooters now and versus shooters back then, at least when it came to AAA ones, they didn't have a lot of fluff and baggage with them. Nowadays, when you play Call of Duty or Battlefield, you got all this different shit that you can do, all of the perks, and every game they always changing something or trying to change what they would normally do, or just a little bit different. Here's the pick 10 system, here's the regular perk system, here's this thing, here's that thing. And over the years, at least in Call of Duty's case, since it comes out every year, it gets old. At least for me, it gets old quick. I miss the days when I could just pick up a game, jump in a multiplayer match, don't have to worry about a lot of this extra bullshit and balancing and how they decide to do things, because that changes from year to year. In 1 minute you can do this and next year you can't do that. Battlefield's no different. I personally haven't had fun with Battlefield since Battlefield 3. Like, coming out of Bad Company 2, going into Battlefield 3 was fucking great. It was excellent. Then they came out with Battlefield 4 and they tweaked the balancing and it looked good and things like that, but wasn't a fan of how they balanced the game. And then you got Battlefield 1, and it's, oh, here's World War II. So then that's like, I played that one for like 10 minutes. I still have it. I played it for a few matches, but I stopped playing it back like that fall when it came out. I never played it again. Only because, like I said, I'm not a fan of that kind of sort of thing. So with this here, I wasn't expecting a whole lot, right? I'm expecting just like, okay, here's this going to be broken free-to-play shooter. But it thoroughly impressed me, like I said before. It took me back. It reminds me of like old school Rainbow Six Vegas, where you pick up a controller, there's no perks, all it is just about your gun skill and how you and your team work the map, and that's it. There's no perks, there's no kill streaks, there's no extras that make it so that that allow people who aren't skilled to be good. If you're not skilled in this game, you die. That's pretty much how it is. I don't know if this game has multiple game types. I know when I jumped in it, I jumped into it just to try it out, and I ended up staying in the same lobby for like 4 hours. That's how much fun I was having with it. And that's what, that's where all of this gameplay came from, as a matter of fact. I recorded it while I was doing it. And it was, I started out slow. Like, I started out, I think, getting 1 kill a match. But after, getting like my second and third match in, I pretty much knew what to do in the game just by following other people. People in the game were talking, they were making call outs, they were trying to come up with strategies. It's something you don't normally see nowadays when you play like Call of Duty or Battlefield. So that's why it kind of heavily inspired me to make this video here, because it's just something I got to talk about. It's, by it being more so skill based than anything else, it encourages people to basically work as a team. I guess you don't have to, you can run around. Excuse me. But how the game types and stuff is set up, or at least the one that they put me in, it was like a team deathmatch kind of sort of thing. You have to beat the enemy team, but you have a little bit of objective in there too. Like it's like I think it's like 6v6. I think it may be like 7v7, but I think it's 6v6. And one of you guys on the team is a VIP, meaning so if the enemy team kills that one person, they win. And the people who have the VIP, if the VIP makes it to like this one spot on the map, they win, right? Or whatever team kills each other until there's nobody left. Then whoever's left wins. But how it is, if you get shot, and let's say if you get killed, you don't necessarily instant respawn. It's not one of those games where you constantly respawn over and over and over again, like Call of Duty or Battlefield. So when you get shot and when you get downed, if you happen to have a teammate nearby, he can come and pick you up once. I think that works one time. And so they can pick you back up. If you're on the enemy team, like if I shoot somebody and down them, me or one of my teammates can go to that person and basically put zip cuffs on them and like kind of like secure them. Now, if you secure somebody on the enemy team, they can't come back and get picked up by one of their teammates. So it kind of like eliminates them across the board. So you have a lot of strategy involved with when you take down somebody and things like that, because if you don't clear the area or take somebody down going forward or things like that, then one strong person on the enemy team could like clean up your team, and while you're picking up your team, they could be picking up their team, and then you're back where you started. See what I'm saying? So it's a whole lot of strategy when it comes to like taking out the enemy teams and how you're going to play. And if your team isn't working together as a team, I mean, you're going to get stomped on and shitted on. That's just how the game is. And I like it because of that. It injects that teamwork and that objective based gameplay into a game where it's just basic. It's kind of bare minimums as far as like a shooter goes. Like there's no perks. There's not 50 billion, there's not 50 billion weapons that you can tweak sights and ammo and magazines and stuff on, right? It's just only like 3 or 4 guns in the game. I think you got like a couple assault rifles, a burst rifle, a shotgun, and like 2 snipers, and that's it. No SMGs, none of that typical Call of Duty stuff that you would normally see. And when you pick your weapon and you go out there and you play, the weapons aren't super realistic feeling when it comes to how you aim. Meaning like it's not going to be like Call of Duty or, well, I mean, I can't even say Call of Duty because everything's like lasers with Call of Duty, but let's say like how CSGO, where you shoot a gun and it just goes all over the place. That's not how this game is. Yeah, your gun has recoil to it, but people can take maybe 3, maybe 4 shots depending on where you're shooting them. If you're shooting them in like the chest or the upper body, they take 3 or 4 shots. You shoot them in the head, that's 1 bullet. So it kind of makes sense in that regard where it's a little bit realistic. So somebody can go up on somebody, and let's say when you're shooting at somebody, if you're just spraying somebody down and missing shots and occasionally hitting them, you can still get outgunned. And that's what I like about that, because a lot of modern games, they don't let you do that. They have a long time to kill, but usually whoever sees somebody first dies, because that's how the game is. The quicker they make that time to kill, the less of a skill gap they can have, and the less of skill gap that they have, basically people can get turned on. People, anybody can just pick it up and play it at that point, and still get kills and still feel like they're good when they're not. So this game isn't like that. Like I said, I played it for about, I went into it thinking like, all right, I'll play a couple matches, and ended up playing that shit for like 4 hours straight. That's how much fun I was having with it. And within the span of that time, I mean, I got used to the game. I started at like the lowest guy on my team, and me and the same guys were all in the lobby. Nobody left, right? And I started out being like the guy only making like 1 kill on my team, and then eventually, was end up being like the top 2. I mean, I'm not toting myself up or anything like that, but the game is easy. Once you get used to the mechanics and how things work and how you should play it, the game can be good if you are good, and the damn sure was fun. Everybody else in the game was talking. I didn't have my mic plugged in at the time, so I wasn't talking back with them. But as I was hearing them, I was just, doing what they was playing and going by what they were doing at first. And then when I started to get better at the game and progressing and get more kills, they were starting to follow my actions during the map, even though I wasn't talking to them. So that kind of promotes teamwork and everything like that. And that's what really impressed me as well. Because usually in most games, like when you play Call of Duty, rarely do you ever come across a team that has teamwork if you're like a random in a lobby. A lot of times people are just running out there and working for themselves. They're not working to win per se. They're working for like their kill streaks, or hell, in the older Call of Duty games, they're working for like nukes or shit like that. And in Battlefield, it's people are working for the win, but 9 times out of 10, people are just working for kills. Like, either vehicle whoring, or they want to jump into a tank and only be in that tank the whole match, even though being in a tank isn't really doing anything for the team or for the map. They're just, they just want to go off and do their own thing. Or I just want to snipe, from across the map and waste time and not help my team. Things like that. So this game isn't like that. Like, you have snipers in the game, but they're incredibly limiting. Like I said, this game reminds me a lot of how Rainbow Six used to be. Not the new one, not the new one that's out now, but the older one, Vegas and like Vegas 2 and shooters of that era. That's what this reminds me of. You have weapons, you have a couple grenade types. You can change up your loadouts a little bit, like you can change your sights on your guns, things like that. But every gun only has like maybe one or two sights. You have like iron sights. I think you got a red dot, and then you got the PSLO sight from Battlefield, that Russian red dot one, and that's pretty much it. Everybody pretty much has the same basic equipment, and that's what I like about it. It's incredibly fun. it feels it's not 100% polished, you know. So if you guys want to try it out and play it, it's not going to be one of those things where you pick up and play the game and it's just, oh, this feels perfect. This feels like Battlefield or Call of Duty. This is not that game. You have mounting, you know, like in Call of Duty and Battlefield, but that was the first thing I noticed is I ran to a window and tried to jump in the window, and the animations for doing that kind of stuff, you can do it and you can climb ladders and things like that, but it's not as polished as a AAA game. Meaning, like, in order to climb through the window I just said, you have to be in like the perfect spot, and then you have to be looking directly at the window. You can't be looking at it from like an angle or off to the side. Whereas in most games, like in Battlefield or COD, you can just hit the button and you'll just hop right on in there and it'd be smooth as butter. But in this game, if you're not in that one specific position, it's not going to work. You can hit the button all day and you will not jump in that window. So it just lacks a little bit of polish. The gunplay is going to feel off until you can get used to it, you know, in a couple matches. But outside of that, YouTube, the game was damn fun. It thoroughly impressed me, and I'm probably going to be playing it for the foreseeable future. So that's probably going to be all of the shooter gameplay you guys are going to be seeing in commentaries and things like that. So I just wanted to talk about it here, just only because I don't see a whole lot of people doing it, and it kind of took me back to when I think shooters were better than where they are now. Not necessarily gameplay wise or anything like that, but or as far as how much stuff is in it, but back when the shooters had teamwork and it was more about the objective versus, you know, kills and wins and things like that. So it really impressed me, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on it and my impressions on it and things like that. So if you guys want to check it out, like I said, I think it's called America's Army's Proving Grounds, I think that's what it's called, and it's in the PlayStation Store. I know I searched for it by typing in America's Army, and it was like, you know, it came right on up. I don't know if it's going to be in one of the PlayStation 4 menus on the side when you go to load it in, but I know, you know, you can easily search for it. So my name is the Nanu, the man with the biggest and the most blackest privilege on YouTube, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.